Yeah, welcome back into our community, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a great community that you have just declared that there's no giving up, and there's something that you're working on that even the whole world is not ready to receive it. Because I normally say that another 10, 20 years, there's a platform that we are going to stand that even they'll be wondering, how did you make it here? And that is why we are here. And I will talk about that this community is just about learning. And this learning you're talking about is that I always stated that the moment you stop learning, that is when you start falling behind. And the worst thing that can happen is for us to start falling behind. That is the worst mistake that we don't want to do, because normally to that even to learn, you requires a little bit of confidence. Not too much, not too little. Because if you have too much confidence, you'll think that you don't have to learn. But when you have too little confidence, you think that you can't learn. But when you just have enough confidence, that is when the learning sticks, and you start doing the application. And there is something that I really wanted us to talk about. This is Makoina, and welcome into our community that of great men and women that have said that this can not just be it. We cannot just stop here. We are still moving. There's something that we're looking into. There is that maybe you want to write a book. You are looking at this, and there is normally a question that normally lingers upon everybody's mind, that why do we remain stuck at a point? We remain stuck simply because we don't know where we are. Most people say that because they don't have a goal. No, everybody has a goal, even though they might not never have it written in a goal card, but they have a goal in them and there's something they're going for. But in this case, I just want to look at how do we really set a goal? And this goal, how do we combine it with the system so that it drives us towards achieving a particular success in a certain area? That is what we are looking at. So many people have been arguing, is it really a goal or a system? Both of these things work together. You must set a goal first, then you combine it with the system so that the system is used to achieve a goal. And there are several steps that you can set a goal. And I just want to look at the simplest way that you can come up with goals, achievable goals, and you can use those particular ways to achieve these particular goals that we are looking into. So there is the first thing that I want to talk about. Normally, no, when I talk about a goal, is a purpose or it is an intent, which is normally burns down to into a desire. Desire is a great, normally the great push that once you have a burning desire inside you, you want to move. It is a push that pushes you towards that particular great dream. And normally say that when the dream or the purpose is clear, the price is easier to pay. And paying the price is the main deal here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's I want us to look at how do we really set a goal. And setting a goal, so to look at an attitude is quite important. Attitude has been said that it drives the major part of paying the price. And I want to look at two types of attitudes here. The attitudes on how to defeat the past. Most of us have had some things in the past, maybe past mistakes, past failures that are maybe were so devastating. And I always just say that take the past as a school. Learn from it. Let it teach you. Let's draw the experiences from the past and use them to design a future. And so the next attitude you are looking into here is how do you feel about the future? After looking into your past, how now do you feel moving forward towards the future? Yeah, the future, there are two ways you can look at the future. The future is normally also called a promise. And when the promise is well designed, the price becomes easier to pay. And we can wake up as early as possible and we can do all the discipline, we can read the books and we can manage the time because the purpose and the promise is clear. ladies and gentlemen. So, how do you make it clear? That's what we are looking at here. Most of us, for the few or more years that I'm still living, most of us are facing the future by apprehension, which is not a good way of facing the future. Most of us have resigned to the fate. Let the fate take its course, and they have not designed any future. They're just moving, waking up, and doing the normalcy, what they do on a daily basis, and then no longer looking into something very great into the future. Then the best way to look into the future is by anticipation. This is where there's a well-defined future or designed future or the promise. And that is what normally gives the motivation and the desire to move on. So how do we design a future? That is by setting a goal. The next thing that I want, how do you set a goal? The first question that you must write down, or the first thing that you write down, are the write down the five things that you have accomplished in the last 5 years that you are proud of. Anything, just five. Just five. Those five things can be, maybe you won a medal, maybe a gold medal in the Olympics, or something as little as maybe you started a small business somewhere. Anything that you think that you have achieved in the last 5 years. Yeah, anything like you published a book, you published a paper, you have started a business, you have started a foundation, you anything that you can say of that you are aiming and you have just done it. Write it down. That's an achievement. And when you write it down, be proud of yourself and just appreciate yourself and thank yourself. No, when you do that, there's an energy, the power that flows down into your head, and you feel there's that feel of worthiness that you can still achieve something. Then the next thing after that, the second thing that you do is ask yourself this question: what do you want in the next 10 years? What do you want? Not what you think you want. What do you want? Not what you can achieve when you become successful. What can do it for you if everything fell into place? What can do it for you? That is what we are talking about here. Write everything. Write as much as 50, even 100, anything that you want in the next 10 years. Be it little, be it big. Just write it down. Maybe the places you want to visit. Maybe you want to visit the Great Walls of China. You want to visit maybe Nairobi National Park in Kenya. You want to visit maybe the Great Pyramids in Egypt. Maybe you want to go as far as in the North Poles of the world. Just write it down. Any place you'd like to visit before the end of life. Just write. So that's write anything about your career progression. Maybe you want to achieve something in your career, a promotion that you are aiming towards. Just write it down. What about the skills that you want to learn? Write about the skills that you want to develop. Maybe you want to do an AI, data science. Maybe you want to do something in public speaking, in book writing, bookkeeping, finance, accounting, anything, any skills that you want to learn. What do you want to learn? Maybe swimming. Write it down. Hockey. Maybe you want to do something in golfing. Maybe you want to learn how to. What do you want to learn the next 10 years? Maybe you want to learn to play a music instrument. Just write it. Just write anything. Just write a list as like, just be like a child or be like a kid. Now when you tell a kid that write what you want, a kid will go like crazy. Anything that I want, I write it down for the next 10 years. Yeah, they'll go like they'll write and write and write and write. Write, be crazy and just write what you want. Anything that you want. Maybe also look at your health goals, your physique. What do you want to change? Yeah, just write. What goals do you have for your uh, physique? Anything that you think that is good for, write it down. Go on and on and on. Write something on maybe what do you want for your children? What kind of education do you want to provide? What sports do you want them to play? Which places do you want them to visit? Just write. Those are goals that we are talking about. Those are what you really want. What you really want, not what you think that you can get. What you really want, even if you know that these ones I cannot get it, write it down. And once you write it down, come as much goals as possible. Yeah, we are just giving you time to write and write and write. This is a practical thing, and I want us to write and give yourself a list as much as 50. Go into your career, go into your development, estates, properties. What kind of properties do you want? Maybe you have a goal to be financial independence by in 10 years or in 5 years. Maybe you have a goals to be debt free in the next 5 years or 10 years. Write it down. Yeah, those are the goals that you are looking into. Just write anything that you feel that you can write. After that, continue writing. Yeah, after doing that, the third thing is that keep this list. This list is quite important because as you develop, another 2 years, you come to realize that there are some goals that you wrote there that even you thought that they were very important, they were not even important, and you add more important things into that particular list, and the rest that are not important, you'll be removing them. The next thing that you are after writing this list, the thing is that I want us to, next action, number them in terms of ones, threes, fives, tens, where ones means that the goals that you think, those things that you think that you can achieve within 1 year, write ones. Those that you think that you can achieve in 2 years, write twos, 3 years, 5 years, 5, 10 years and above, 10. Then collect the tens together, threes together, ones together, and even the fives together. Then you look at them. How many do you have? How many do you have on tens? How many do you have on fives? How many do you have on threes? How many do you have on ones? If you realize that you have nothing on tens, know that you are not thinking long range. You must have a balanced course on the long range, which will gear towards giving you a vision, a legacy that you are going to leave behind. Then mid, those are mid goals that are going also to guide you through. Then you have the short-term goals on the ones. After that, the next part of action that is quite important here, ladies and gentlemen, is now you have designed the future. That is how you design the future. When the future is well designed, paying the price is easy. Because normally say that the easiest way to achieve a goal or to be successful, there are only two ways: determine the price and then pay it. For each and every goal, just determine the price and then start paying. Paying the price means it's an action. Action, 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 action. So then after that, select those goals. You'll get that you see where you apply the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. You'll get that amongst all those, just 20% of those goals will give you almost a full results that you need in life. It's not a must to achieve everything, but if you achieve 80% of everything that you need, that is a chunk of that's a huge, that can be huge. 80% of all that you need. Then the next thing that always been very important here that I really want us to think about is why. Now ask yourself, select these at least 4 important goals here that you really think that these ones are very important. Then ask yourself, why are these goals the most important in my life? When the whys becomes greater, the hows becomes easier. The next question, ask yourself, what for? What for? Now, this is a very quite a deep question that you really need to ask yourself. Maybe you have a dream of building a mansionette in the beach facing the ocean. And now you ask yourself, what for? That's the purpose. What is the purpose? You have an object and the purpose. What for? It is for my family to have a peaceful, secure place to enjoy, make memories, experience, and live a fulfilling life. That becomes a great purpose. Then you say, go for it. Now is the purpose. It's not just the object, but you connect that object with the purpose. Why are you going for it? That will create a desire that will now push you because you have a purpose. What for? Yeah. When you answer some of these questions, it creates a desire that now makes you turned on. Then ask yourself, what makes you turn on? And what makes you turned off? The purpose will automatically makes you turn on. And it will always think about, I'm doing this because of this. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a lesson to ponder. And we are really thinking about this particular lesson that is it really important to set a goal is quite important. And when you do that and you have a list, the most important thing, anytime you achieve something, check it off and celebrate. Appreciate yourself. If it is a family goal, if you set a family goal and you achieve it as a family, let each and every family member check it off and make a celebration as a whole family. Ladies and gentlemen, there is we normally say that we are still moving on and we are not yet there. And there is a day that we are going to be there, and that day is coming. So as we strive to move on, let's move. And ladies and gentlemen, enjoy and let's pushing a little bit harder and never ever give up. Thank you.